we're playing a part in the buying journey earlier than the companies that are just trying to play at the bottom of this pyramid. The majority of people we're going to be speaking to when we're trying to create demand are these problem unaware or problem aware people. The vast majority of our market are just not in market right now. They're not looking to buy. So when we think this way and understand this way, now we can start to shift our strategy and approach to one of being of value, participating in that earlier stage of the buying journey, build a better buying experience. So market dynamics is having an understanding of how the market interlinks together. So different concepts and philosophies, how they all intertwine and overlap to create a marketplace. And this is where a lot of businesses go wrong. They don't understand the market they're playing in. And that's obviously where marketers spend every single day studying, analyzing, working this stuff out so that they can best optimize the marketing efforts that the company is putting forward. But without this understanding of how a market functions and market dynamics, then you're always going to be shooting in the dark, and a lot of the time companies find themselves in this spot. So the first part of market dynamics that we need to understand is that not every single person is in market. A principle that underlines this is the buyer's pyramid principle, been around for decades. The numbers on this are arbitrary, but what it essentially suggests is that 3% of our market are aware of the problem and buying now, 7% are open to buying, 30% are aware of the problem but not looking for solutions right now, 30% are unaware of the problem but do actually have the problem, and then 30% just don't need it or don't care. So if we understand that not everyone is at the pointy tip of that pyramid, and they're all at different stages of awareness and sometimes moving up and down this pyramid, we can understand where we're trying to reach an individual as a part of their buying journey, their buying cycle, versus just hammering a buy us now message into market, which is only going to tap into a 3% audience. Now that's where the majority of companies find themselves playing. The reason you don't just want to be playing there is because it's the most competitive, it's also the most expensive, and by that stage of the buying journey, a buyer's pretty much made up their mind, at least a short list of vendors, and now they're typically just shopping around on price, features, which is a low value state to be in as a seller. So we want to enter a buying journey way earlier in the prospect's process of how they move from problem unaware to aware of the problem to then starting to solve the problem. So ideally, we want to come in and tap into this wide angle of the market. Now to know this, we need to understand our total addressable market, which I'll go into in a second. But by crafting our marketing strategy and our marketing messaging towards the different stages of awareness a buyer is at, we can all of a sudden reach a much wider audience within that ICP, within that total addressable market, than we could if we were just pitching in the market all day. So if we take the buyer's pyramid and flip it on its head, it looks kind of like a funnel, but I want to get your mind out of the whole top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel, and shift it towards this awareness-based thinking because it changes the approach. A typical top, middle, and bottom of funnel approach would be capture their details at the top, initiate some sort of lead scoring model and try pitch them stuff to move them to middle of funnel, and then get them onto a sales call and push them towards the bottom of funnel. It's a very linear process when buyers don't buy linearly. So we're not trying to capture details and force them through to the next stage. We're simply being present in the market initially by creating demand. Now, when I say creating demand, it's not a term meaning that we're just manufacturing demand from thin air, such as just creating this random thing that no one's ever heard of before and we all of a sudden manufacture demand for it. That can sometimes happen if you do have a really unique thing, like, for example, say toothbrushes. Before toothbrushes were around, people had obviously would have had really bad teeth, and then toothbrushes came around, so all of a sudden there's a ton of demand for it. But that's not 99% of companies. They're not creating a whole new category from scratch. Most companies are entering existing categories and putting their own little tweaks on it. So we're creating demand for our brand. We're playing a part in the buying journey earlier than the companies that are just trying to play at the bottom of this pyramid, or the top of the pyramid, whichever way you look at it. So we're creating demand for us. How do we do that? We do that through sharing content, value-based emails. We can run ads such as thought leader ads to get our message to a wider audience and get people resonating. Now, the important thing with creating demand is understanding who we're speaking to. So the majority of people we're going to be speaking to when we're trying to create demand are these problem unaware or problem aware people. So we're trying to help people either understand the problem that we're solving because they just aren't aware of it, or make the ones that are aware of the problem aware that we're a possible solution. So that when they move into the next stage of awareness, either being problem aware and open to buying, or the problem is so urgent that they're buying now, we have participated in their understanding and learnings about the problem, so that when they shift to this next stage of awareness and they are actively in market, we're an obvious choice for them to go to because we've been participating in that earlier part of their journey. Now we capture the demand via channels like our website for direct demand, people coming to our website, booking a meeting, booking a demo, whatever the call to action is. Conversion orientated ads, they could be run through retargeting or just open targeting, but people that are obviously interacting with the brand are naturally going to see the ads anyway. So more conversion orientated ads could be for an application, a book a call, something like that. Could even be conversion orientated content, such as comment X word below to book a call or book a time with our team, or click the link, or come to our website, book a time to meet with us, whatever it is. It can be through email as well. The point is, this isn't where the majority of our efforts are going. The majority of our efforts are going to creating demand because we're understanding that the vast majority of our market are just not in market right now. They're not looking to buy. So when we think this way and understand this way, now we can start to shift our strategy and approach to one of being of value, participating in that earlier stage of the buying journey, so that when, again, they do shift into in-market, we become an obvious choice, or at least a front runner in the choice of a vendor for them to use to solve that problem. Then we roll them into our conversion mechanisms, whether that's through sales calls, whatever it is, to convert that demand that we've been building. Now, again, the point at which someone shifts from out of market to in market is beyond our control. All we can do is put the message out there for people to understand, but we can't force them to go in market. And that's where a lot of businesses go wrong, is they try to force people to go in market when they're just simply not. And that's by capturing their details, spamming them with calls, getting them booked into free strategy calls or free this to just get them onto the phone. There's even some companies that bribe people to jump on calls. They offer $50 vouchers or gift cards, etc., just to jump on a call. And that's just forcing someone who's not in market to get on a call for the sake of it. And sure, you might get the odd person that pops through, but in terms of efficiency, it's one of the worst approaches that you can take to initiating a sales process, because you're trying to shove square pegs into round holes. In contrast, when you are simply present in the market and you are distributing a message that your ICP cares about, that they are learning from, being entertained by, or being inspired by, and then when they shift to in-market, maybe part of your content has helped them shift to in-market by creating that additional layers of awareness that, hey, this problem can be solved by this, and they've made that shift to understand that they do need to solve this problem. Again, they will typically initiate the conversation, or we have other mechanisms like ads to put in front of them with direct calls to action, with people that are genuinely interested in potentially taking up our services, not just taking a bunch of leads or contact details, throwing them down to sales and saying, hey, none of these people are actually interested in buying. They've not shown no interest. They just downloaded some report. Can you try and make them interested in buying our stuff? And then sales waste all day just churning through lead after lead after lead, most of which aren't qualified, because the ones that are qualified are already either in market, aware of the problem, or are already with a vendor, at which point you need to initiate a more nearbound or outbound approach to get into that account, rather than them being just downloading white papers or downloading resources. Again, not saying you won't pick up any sales from that sort of approach, but in terms of efficiency, it's just not viable for most businesses. Plus, it goes against the marketing dynamics because it's treating this entire market as equal when they're not. They're all at different stages, and we need to respect those stages and earn the right to pitch. So that's where our ecosystem comes into play. So as we mentioned before, the total addressable market, let's just say, if we move this head, is HR managers, just so you can see there. There are only a certain number of HR managers in a country, right? Or in a state, city, whatever your type of service appeals to. Let's say your service is mainly delivered online, so you can tap into an entire country. You could tap into the entire world if you want to. But let's say you were starting with a country, such as Australia, local to me. There's only a certain amount of HR managers within Australia. Now, inside that total addressable market, they all might have varying desires of what it is they need right now or want for their company. Some may have a higher priority on health. Some may have a higher priority on software and tech to try and facilitate a smoother process within their HR section. Some might have a desire for better recruitment. Whatever it is, there's a multitude of different desires within that market, all taking different priorities at different times. So we need to understand, firstly, what desire we're trying to tap into. Then within that desire itself, let's say it was the health and well-being side, within that desire, there are the multiple stages of awareness. So ones that are unaware of it, they're unaware of the impact that well-being can have on the workplace, or that it's even a problem in their particular workplace. Some that are aware of the problem, they know that it's having an impact, but they don't have the budget, or they're just not looking for solutions right now. Some that are solution aware, that know that it's a problem, they know there are some vendors out there, but again, they might not have the budget, or they're just having difficulties with C-suite management to get approval for it, but they're just not in market right now. Then there are the ones that are in market, either open to buying or looking to buy right now. All of that is happening within that particular desire pocket. Then inside those levels of awareness, there's all different personas. So there's ones at small companies, medium-sized companies, enterprise level companies, some in tech, manufacturing, some in professional services, legal, accounting. There's all of these different personas now inside these levels of awareness that are inside the desire pocket, that are inside the entire total addressable market. So if we understand all of those stages of awareness, we understand how the desires interlink, the different personas we can potentially tap into, now we're starting to get a grasp on the market dynamics of who we're really trying to speak to. Because as the old saying goes, if you try to chase two rabbits, you end up with none. So our message needs to be appealing to a certain segment of the market. Now that can shift, and we can have multiple messages in market simultaneously, but overall we need to understand who we're trying to go for. Now, like some of my clients who provide corporate well-being services to companies and obviously go through HR to implement this program, if that's the desire, workplace well-being programs, now we've got to craft different messaging to tailor towards the different stages of awareness and understand who our best persona is. That persona is going to shift as we expand as a company, as we have more resources, as we penetrate the market further. But who are our best clients going to be? Is it going to be companies that are sub 100, that are 100 to 200, 200 to 400, 500 plus, that are enterprise, that are publicly listed? Who is our best persona going to be, and who is going to best resonate with our message? We can only find that out by putting messages out there and dialing those messages in further as we progress. So now that we have an understanding of the ecosystem, now we need to create our world, our planet. So I picked this analogy up off Alex Boyd when he came onto the podcast recently, and he described companies as planets. So what you're trying to do as you're creating this demand engine, as you're putting out content and you're expanding your ecosystem across multiple platforms with different messaging, with different awareness stage angles, you're trying to expand your gravitational pull. So that if you imagine all of these planets here, if we again use the example of corporate well-being providers, are all different providers of similar services. As a prospect is floating through the space of the market, we essentially want them to gravitate more towards us if we're the big one here, and our gravitational pull them in more than these other planets. And we do that through, again, amplifying our content, amplifying our message, and just being more present so that by sheer volume and quality and quantity of what we're putting out there, our gravitational field pulls in our ideal ICP because we're speaking directly to them. Whereas all these smaller companies might either not even be prioritizing it just yet, or they're not speaking directly to their particular ICP, or they just don't have a concept of marketing dynamics and they're just going for that top 3%. Whatever the reason is, we just want to make sure our gravitational field is stronger than our competitors. Now that doesn't mean we're going to win everyone and we're not going to attract everyone, but we know if we have a strong gravitational field, if we have a strong ecosystem, then we're giving ourselves the best chance to be a part of a buying journey for potential prospects and buyers and clients of our company. So this concept of marketing dynamics does have some more complexities and depths to go into, but I don't want to turn this into a 1-hour training. The main things you need to understand is who your addressable market is, what their desires are, what level of awareness are they at, who is the persona, that particular ICP, what are their character traits, and then finally what level of sophistication are they at in terms of their understanding of the problem. If you can understand all of those marketing dynamics and how they're playing together and start to build your revenue engine around those market dynamics and have a deep understanding of them, which isn't an easy process. It's not something you can just switch on overnight. It takes testing, iterating, experimenting, learning and implementing new insights, and continual growth and learning. Where many companies and founders and even marketers go wrong is they try and shortcut this process. They might jump into ads, for example, and just pour a bunch of money into ads because they want to try and get revenue as quickly as possible without understanding this concept. So now they're fighting over that top 3% of the market, and they might crack it, some do, but the vast majority don't, because they don't understand this concept. Whereas if you're going to use ads, for example, build the ecosystem, get demand coming through from organic and cheap efforts, then use ads to amplify what is working. Don't just jump into ads and try and bypass this whole ecosystem, this whole concept of market dynamics, because 9 times out of 10, or probably 99 times out of 100, it will come back to haunt you. If you have a truly unique product and something that the market has never seen or is just way better than anything else, then for sure, jump the queue, start pumping ads to it, just get awareness on it. Or if you've got a decent amount of runway and you can just use ads to accelerate the learning process, put money into it, no problem. But if you don't have that runway, or you don't have something that's just super unique and an absolute no-brainer to purchase, then focus on what we've discussed today. But even if you do have those things, if you focus on what we've discussed today initially, that hockey stick curve will be much greater for you than if you just tried to shove your message into the market when the market simply might not be ready or might not care. Create the demand, capture it, convert it, and play a part in the buying journey. Build a better buying experience. So that's it for this solo episode of Revenue Mechanics to understand the concept of market dynamics. Next week, we'll be back with a guest who started in Australia and has launched one of the fastest growing agencies over in the US, Russ McCumber. So really looking forward to that. Tune in, but hopefully you got some value from this short solo session.